We've all heard it, just stay consistent, as if grit alone can solve everything, as if showing up day after day will magically save you from failure. But here's what no one tells you: sometimes consistency is the very thing that keeps you stuck. You keep walking the same path, hoping for a different horizon, and you call it discipline. But what if it's just fear? What if the very habit you're proud of is the cage you can't see? I used to believe that if I just kept going, I'd get there every day. I'd wake up and hammer away at the same goals, the same routine, the same grind, because that's what everyone says, right? Stay consistent, success is just one more step away. But after years of showing up, nothing changed. I was exhausted, bitter, and secretly ashamed to admit it, because if consistency is the key, what does it mean when the lock never opens? We don't like to admit this, but sometimes the thing we cling to, our precious routine, becomes a crutch. It keeps us busy enough to feel alive, but safe enough never to really grow. That's the ugly truth. Consistency without reflection becomes a ritual of fear. This is the trap no one talks about. Consistency feels virtuous. But it can be a lie. We confuse habit with progress and discipline with courage, but discipline without direction is just stagnation. It's easy to wake up and repeat yesterday. It feels safe, it feels familiar, but over time it robs you of your curiosity, your creativity, your willingness to risk. You convince yourself you're building something, but really you're hiding from the possibility of failure. Psychologically, humans crave certainty. Your brain loves patterns, but those patterns can become prisons. You stop questioning, you stop noticing, you just keep going, and you call it discipline. But deep down, it's fear of the unknown, fear of letting go, fear of starting over. This obsession with consistency isn't new. Entire cultures idolize perseverance, grit, tenacity, never quit. We put it on posters, we write it in self help books, and yes, there's wisdom in not giving up, but there's danger in never questioning. Nietzsche once said, "Convictions are prisons." The same can be said of habits. When you confuse movement for meaning, you lose sight of why you started. The ritual becomes more important than the result, and society rewards this. We celebrate the grind, we praise the people who never stop, but rarely do we ask, is their direction even right? Or are they just too scared to admit they're lost? History is full of people who broke free from the trap of consistency. Steve Jobs abandoned the very company he built to come back stronger. Artists like Picasso constantly reinvented themselves, destroying their own style when it no longer served them. And on the other side, history is also full of people who stayed too long. Businesses that clung to old models until they collapsed, leaders who stayed on their thrones as everything crumbled around them. The difference? Courage, the courage to ask, is this still serving me? Or am I just afraid to let go? You don't have to quit everything, you don't have to throw it all away, but you do have to ask, am I growing or just surviving? This is where the real conflict begins, because admitting you've outgrown something feels like failure. You start to wonder, who am I if I stop? What happens to all the time I've invested? But you're not that person anymore, and that's okay. The truth is, real strength isn't blind consistency. Real strength is the ability to stop, reflect, and change. Even if it hurts, even if it scares you, even if no one understands. Here's what you can do: stop glorifying the grind, stop confusing routine with progress. Give yourself permission to pivot. It starts small. Ask yourself, why am I still doing this? What am I afraid of if I stop? Is this still aligned with who I am? It's uncomfortable, you'll feel guilt, you'll feel lost. But that is where growth begins, in the space between the habit you've outgrown and the future you re brave enough to imagine, the uncomfortable truth. You don't owe consistency to anyone, not even to the person you used to be. You'll feel resistance. People will call you a quitter. You'll call yourself one too. You'll think of all the time you've already invested and feel like walking away would make it meaningless, but staying just because you've already stayed is the fastest way to die inside. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to outgrow what once served you. You're allowed to let go. Consistency isn't bad, but it isn't everything. Tonight, when you're staring at the same to-do list, running the same script in your head, pause, ask yourself, am I really moving forward? Or am I just afraid to stop? Because life isn't about how long you can hold on, it's about knowing when to let go, and maybe today is that day.